We scammed our way into a military contract, which sounded great, until they actually started to test the thing, you know?
Do it. West Coast, Murder City, throw it up. Alright, Murder Bitch, let's go. Peace to my West Coast family smoking. 7-Eleven on dice to keep them open. I'm here to seize the moment. Potent, deadly, murderous medley. Rodents eat rat poison that I set out for the slow lease that chose to run that mouth. Run a tight ship and squealing ain't permitted unless you wanna see that villain in the fitted. Detroit new era, true terror. Deal with Michigan win.
So yeah, what can I tell you? The government did cancel our military contract. But guess what? That wasn't before they accidentally destroyed 219 test vehicles on their own test range. And what if I tell you that was the plan all along? You know, here's the catch. Each one of these cars cost 60 grand. And under Fruinian law, paragraph 43 minus B, if the state wrecks it, they pay for it. Yes, we lost the contract, but we already made a fortune, baby. And guess what? That was the plan all along. See, I kept trying to push the general, just test another one, don't worry about it, it's on me, just test another one, we got 200 cars right here. Fortunately, after 3 days he got the call and he figured out that they had to pay for each car. Well, fun fact, the entire program was a big scam, a big trap. A beautiful, flaming, suspension snapping trap. So we're back, baby, and actually making some pretty nice profits right there. So the whole governmental scam thing worked out very well. Let's play right into our cards. Now we still do sell the Atom. We still do sell the Spectacular with facelifts. We have a whole bunch of different factories scattered all over the place. It's starting to become a mess because we don't really know what we're doing here. The Spectacular and the Atom were our first two cars. As you can see, both are from 46, so they are about to be 20 years old. It's a 20-year-old platform, but I mean, come on. It's not really out of character for us to sell something that's a complete piece of junk and completely outdated. I mean, these cars weren't safe to begin with when they came out 1946, and they ain't safe now. You better believe that shit. But yeah, I mean, it's probably time to do some facelifts, check out the market, see where we are doing sales and where we can optimize sales, and see if we can slip into a new market here and there. So our whole lineup exists. It was made up out of the Atom, the Spectacular, the Dite, the Lagune, the Fly, and the Off-Roader. So we got a pretty interesting arrangement there, so to say, but we don't really have anything for the small compact market. We don't have anything for the, let's say, commuter city, you know, those markets from the people that don't have much money are inside. So yeah, we gotta start selling to that. At least that's what I'm hearing, right? I mean, you know, sometimes you go out your way and you listen to what the other big companies are doing, right? They're all selling to these city premium, fun market, pony cars, family cars, budget cars. That's where the real money is at. So this is basically us trying to make such a car. Spoiler alert, it didn't work out. It doesn't really work out for us. I'm not even sure if the factory size that we have is really set up for such a thing, for such a mass-produced car, because in order to make a car, as I understand now, sell well, that is profitable. It has to be very cheap, means it has to be mass produced, meaning you have to have a big factory. But if you are then having a car that is in very small demand, or a car that has a very small niche or very small market, or you didn't do enough marketing, and you have the big factory and the car doesn't sell, then you are even in an even greater problem, because you have to sell you have to pay the upkeep, and you can't pay it, right? So it's always a bit risky introducing a new car like that. But yeah, come on, as if we ever shied back from a little bit of risk, right? But yeah, we do got a problem here. You see, we selected the small hatchback because this is supposed to be primed for the city market. We really want to go into these big audience type of markets, like the city market, because supposedly that's where the money's at. But the problem is, it never got green. Like the color indicates, are you gonna sell this car or not? That thing ain't turning green, man. So at this point, I'm just like, F this shit. I ain't doing that nonsense. For some reason, we can't design a car that's reliable enough, I guess, so no one wants to buy this. Maybe it's because of the whole Widowmaker incident. So anyways, we're basically starting to make the spiritual successor of the Lagune, which was a success, which made us actually some money. So yeah, I mean, okay, we lost 400 million or something in total, but that probably saved us from getting bankrupt, that car. So I plan to do a spiritual successor who basically keeps the aggressive front, right? To have some kind of, not really brand identity, but identity in the sense of it's a successor. It's like the Shark 2 if you want, but a different name. The first one was the Lagune. Now it's the Malibu. And this car is gonna have a bigger engine, right? So the original car, the Lagune, only had the small boxer engine, right? And now we want to put the big V8 inside and also make like a super Gran Turismo version with a V12. And that's kind of the idea, to go into the muscle premium market, to go into the supermarket, hyper if you can sell it, Gran Turismo, GT Premium as well. That's kind of the markets that we want to go at. And the big benefit for us is, with our shady tactics and insufficient factory levels and whatnot that we have, like horrible reliability, horrible tooling quality, is that in these super and sports and hyper and like I said earlier, luxury markets basically, you just can get away with shady shit like that, because if the fucking windows collapse after you shut the door, you can just say, yeah, because it's handmade, man, and no one will think about it. So that's the big benefit here that we can do. And yeah, the design actually, once again, is gonna turn out quite nicely. Let's go about this screen real quick. So this is basically our standard setup: aluminum, space frame, steel, front, double wishbone. It's kind of like our go-to setup right here. And yeah, of course it's gonna be rear-wheel drive, manual, 5 gears, LSD, medium combat tires, some proper solid discs, proper sizes, pretty thick this time, no underclay. Gonna have a convertible version, manual rack and pinion, advanced safety levels. And for the suspension and the springs, I usually just gonna go with like all the premium versions, and I'm starting to up the quality a lot on most of these things. It's something that we're gonna do more and more, because I just can't seem to get these demographics up as easily as I used to. So in the beginning, you've seen that everything was always green. For quite some time now, it's very, very tough for some reason to get these damn demographics into the green. They're always red, orange, red, dark red, light yellow, as you can see now on the left there, but they never really go really deep green anymore. So basically, we're just not as good as our competitors for some weird reason. I mean, that's just hearsay, I guess. But you know how it is. So I really have to up the quality. And what helps a lot is that we obviously always use luxury interior, right? Yeah, I understand that the design is an extremely polarizing thing. People either hate it or love it. I already talked about this a little bit in regards to the predecessor of this car, but I personally love it, and I don't care what anyone else says. And like I said, this for me, this is something unique, right? It's just something that I've never seen before. Just gonna put our mandatory hood emblem, our flying eagle, on the hood there, and we're using many design elements of the previous car here. One signature thing is obviously the side exhaust, coming from all the way from day one, really, from the predecessor of all of our cars. The spirit that lives on in all our cars, right, is the Widowmaker, yes, because all these cars have something that's wrong with them. Either they spin out, they don't have proper emission levels, they're extremely loud, they're extremely unreliable, or they're just bloody fast. So one of those things is always there, and the Widowmaker is the one car that ties this all together, because this is where all these cars are really from, spiritually. So yeah, I understand that the design is extremely polarizing, but this is what it's supposed to be. This is a showstopper. We designed this car to be something that someone goes and like, hey, what the fuck is this? This is the shark, right? The design of the grille is supposed to be a big mouth, and the own individual hood stripes, so to say, if you will, are basically like teeth, and it's even more exaggerated in this design than the previous design, because the previous design in the Lagune, the stripes were straight, if you want, right? But now they're less narrow, they're more widened up, like as if the car is opening its mouth even more, as if it's even more saying, I'm gonna eat you. And it makes sense, because previously we had 6 pistons under there, right? We had a little boxer under there, and now there's a V12 under the hood. Currently, it's a smooth version of the V12. It's the 1.3 version with 150 horsepower, a bit lowered due to the emission settings that we had to change. It's a bit less horsepower now, and it's supposed to be for our Gran Turismo cars and maybe even bigger sedans and whatnot. We have also a high rev V12 version, which is more for like the super sports car. This is more supposed to be in like the Gran Turismo, the muscle car kind of niche, if you want. And it's also not a direct end for the predecessor in this sense. The introduction of this car doesn't mean that the predecessor has to go. Not at all. This is more like the bigger brother, right? That went to the gym, maybe joined the death cult, took some steroids, and is just way more strong. Because the predecessor, while it was beautiful and already deadly, it only had a small boxer engine with around 2 liters. Now we have a proper 4.5 or whatever it is V12 in there. So that's why they can work next to each other as basically 2 different cars for 2 different niches, 2 different markets, and complement each other more than anything. So that's kind of the idea. So this is the bigger shark, while the other one is a smaller shark. And as you can see here, this is what I meant earlier. It's much easier to set up these premium cars, the Gran Turismos, the hypercars, the supercars, the GT cars, the sports cars, because the market itself, I assume that's the reason. Maybe it's also just because our prestige is quite high, because everyone wants to drive a car that's super dangerous, and we build the dangerous cars, and everyone around town knows that. But I actually think it's because of the reliability stat, because we have horrible, unreliable cars. I mean, everyone knows that. You drive off the lot, the car breaks, right? That's a Turbolago car right there for you. But in the hypercar, Gran Turismo car, super sports car market, no one cares about that stuff, right? So that's very good for us. Malibu, because it's like the predecessor of the Lagune. And the Lagune is still in production, right? We would do one version for Master Premium and one for GT. The term is a bit long. Interior, body, chassis. Maybe we could lower something here. Definitely worse now. Yeah, okay, we can't do that. Let's rather try, but doesn't work. A little twist here, a little boost there. And suddenly it just works. You know, it's like Todd Howard. You just make it work somehow. But yeah, a lot of this stuff is obviously always just fine tuning and clicking buttons. And does it make a really big difference if the last gear is into 100 kilometers or 210 kilometers? Maybe not really, but it makes a huge difference sometimes in regards to acceleration. Fuel economy and whatnot, and also then because of this in regards to traction and in regards to then the desirability and the demographics, and that's what it's really all about, right? Because we gotta make that money. Yeah, for the springs I went now with the Huda pneumatic. I think in the future we will have it more and more cars. Just because, like I said earlier, we really will go now more with the newest and latest and just also at the same time most expensive suspension levels, because it makes a huge difference in regards to the desirability, right? It costs a lot more in engineering time and the money, but somehow we gotta make these cars like worthy in regards to buying them, right? People have to buy them. I mean, basically we gotta make sure that people look at the car and just say, hey, I would like to own that. Right?
I'd like to own that.
You would?
Mm.
For $50,000?
Well, you can't put any price on masterpieces like that. They're worth, well, whatever you can afford to pay for them.
So, one was the V8, and this one was the GT Premium version with the V12. wasn't very good. So this car as well doesn't like braking very much. And we can't steer anymore. We have to restart, unfortunately. Well, at least I tried, huh? Can't talk it because the car's too loud. That wasn't a crash, it was just a spontaneous little safety test right there. I mean, we almost passed, but yeah, I mean, okay, the car is a bit something to control, I admit. So what can I say? Really beautiful car, perfect bigger brother of the Lagune, completely just bundled the energy and metaphorically what the shark, the Lagune 1 was pretty much standing for. But now in a series produced V12. Previously we just had the V12 and the Lagune prototype. Now we have Shark with 12 cylinders, that's really powerful. Yes, it's quite snappy, it likes to oversteer if you push so much on the gas pedal, but it's much more controllable than the previous cars, much more controllable. So yeah, I really like the teardrop indicator design that just also hint at the Lagune and other models that we had in the past that also had kind of this design. And yeah, it's just overall pretty cool little sports car. And another cool thing is obviously that we still have the heart of the Widowmaker, which makes us spiritually so much more shark, right? We had the previous Lagune with the shark design, with the aggressive design, but it was a small little boxer engine, 6 cylinders, come on. Now we have the proper 12 banger in there that was also in the Widowmaker. Of course it's the 1.3 version, a bit toned down, but still, it's there, the soul is there. So sub 3 minutes for us here in the 60s with the very bad tires. A very big success. So pretty good time. What I want to say is quite happy with the car, but in 63 Ferrari already made a car that was able to do I think 270 kilometers per hour. With the high revving V12, 3 liter V12. We got a V12 and I want to do that. I want to get a V12 in the next facelift that's going to rev fire, it's going to make nicer sounds, and which is going to more fitting. I mean, we're selling this as a hypercar, right? And it's not yet a hypercar, unfortunately. Plus there's so many amazing car frames at the moment that I really want to utilize and build nice cars off, that we really got to get this money stuff in order to yeah, get this done. Now what we want to do for sure is get this car out ASAP, because we want to make money, and I think it's gonna be selling quite nicely actually. Doesn't have to be very automated, it's gonna be much sales, since this car is really mostly all about making a lot of money on not too many cars. So also the process can be a bit wasteful. The reliability doesn't have to be that high. Let's get down to 18 months if possible. And we could build this car in the factory of the Spectacular, because the Spectacular doesn't sell much at all. Like, not at all. On the other hand, it doesn't make much sense to do this in the Spectacular shed, because it will take like 18 months to utilize, and a tiny factory would be definitely enough to build this. So I'm not 100% sure where we should build this. That still makes probably the most sense to build it here. Doesn't cost us much at all to do this with the factory, so that's pretty good, I guess. So this is a hypercar, and this is a GTP. So we could sell this for 170 and still be in the range for the hypercar. This one for, let's say, 77. So that's the beauty about selling in these markets, right? We can just market to the muscle cars, the GTP market, the hyper, the supermarket. And the amazing thing with this, look at the margin, baby. 100%, 300%. Are you kidding me? Like, we can charge so much money for this and get away with it. Okay, so let's see what happens now. Okay, Diet is finally done and ready to sell, I guess. Where is he? So that's good, it's gonna make us money now. So there's so many cool cars that I want to use and build. I want to build something with this, I want to make a hypercar. I mean, we already have a hypercar, but you know what I mean. So yeah, things are looking very well now. The military scam went well. We designed a predecessor, or more like a big brother, more like a successor, sorry, to the Lagune. Everything is going actually in the right direction. So that's where we're gonna leave it off now. So what can I say? After all, pretty successful day after all. That's our current lineup right now. We have a pretty nice array of cars that you can actually be proud of yourself, you know what I mean? Luxury cars, prestigious cars, cars with 8 cylinders, 12 cylinders. We ain't doing none of this 4-cylinder crap, come on now. Lower than 6? Never. It's already twisting my spine to think that we have a freaking Boxer 6-cylinder engine. I mean, everything below 8 is just not feasible for us, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, I mean, I admitted earlier I was knee deep in trying to build a boring, reliable city car. Yeah, but you know, who cares about that stuff? Yes, I wanted something sane, something practical, something your own with a gardening head could drive, you know, and Marie or whatever. But every time I removed the vent, I removed the spoiler, softened the suspension, I couldn't put a big V8 in it because they complained about the hood size and it's too big of an engine, I couldn't put the V12. I just lost a part of myself, man. And to be honest, to this, we just went in it for the money. But when I saw the market doesn't even want our car, because they say, oh, it's not reliable enough, you don't meet the safety standards, you don't meet the emission standards. Go to hell. We built a big old Malibu, you know what I mean? We built a car that's just better in every regard. Maybe more deadly, but better. I mean, we tried to be sensible, for the money I mean, but after all we tried to be sensible and the numbers just didn't add up. It was just not reliable enough, the market didn't want it, it just never turned green, it was just always red, indicating no one's gonna buy this. Competitors would just be much better on the city market for whatever reason, I guess because of bigger factories, these cheaters. But that's what happened. And the public? I mean, the public wants more power, right? That's what every man wants, a bigger engine. So we built the Malibu, a spiritual successor to the Lagune. Similar chassis, but twice the cylinders, baby. Still convertible, it's still horrifying.